Work continues on Jasper's Gigacity build-out. More on that, plus a Jasper landmark may soon have more state and national recognition, and Kurt Guxell discusses Sultan's Run being Indiana's Golf Course of the Year tonight in sports. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. Well, last night we told you about Jasper and America's Best Communities. Tonight, the work is continuing on another major project. Mayor Terry Seitz says work continues on the Gigacity project being led by Smithville Communications. Seitz says 2 phases of the 3-phase project are underway. The first phase is connecting the city buildings, a process that Seitz says will wrap up in the near future, as 8 of the 9 are already connected, with the Gas and Water Department building being the lone exception. The second phase is continuing to engineer the build-out to city businesses. This work includes finding areas across the city where service boxes can be placed. Seitz says the business build-out is another sign that the project is moving ahead.
I think, as I heard them at Rotary a couple weeks ago, under optimum conditions, they would be hoping to hook up some enterprise slash business or residential areas still this year. We figured that would be 2016, so I'm going to say that they're probably doing very, very well.
Seitz says the Gigacity project is still generating publicity across the state for Jasper. He says there is also a new appreciation for Smithville as a result of the project.
We really have come to appreciate Smithville as a corporate citizen. We have so many great corporate citizens here, and in very short order, they have played that role in the past. They've been a Strassenfest sponsor and a chamber member for a long time, but they've taken that to a different level right now.
Of course, the Gigacity plans were announced at a January press conference in Jasper City Hall. The project is a private investment of $7 million being made by Smithville. The investment is being handled through the DuBois County Community Foundation. For more on this project, you can go to jasper.smithville.com. Today was a special day at the Indiana State House, and one that has deep ties to southwestern Indiana. Governor Mike Pence and others marked the 150th anniversary of the day that President Abraham Lincoln's body lay at the State House following his assassination. Pence and leaders of the General Assembly and the state courts laid wreaths and flowers in remembrance. The Lincoln funeral train arrived in Indianapolis at Union Station on April 30th of 1865. The coffin was brought by carriage to the State House to lie in state. From early morning to late that night, thousands of Hoosiers filed through the building and past the coffin to pay their respects. The train then went to Michigan City, Chicago, and finally to Springfield, Illinois, where he was buried. Of course, Lincoln spent much of his boyhood in northern Spencer County, in the area that is now the Lincoln Boyhood National Memorial and Lincoln State Park. And finally tonight, the story of a Jasper landmark that may soon garner more state and national recognition. Opened in 1939, the Cabby O'Neill Gym on West 6th Street may soon find its place on the Indiana or even the National Register of Historic Places. Named for legendary Jasper basketball coach Leo Cabby O'Neill in 1983 and known to opponents as Cabby's Cave, the gym has hosted 440 Jasper boys basketball games and has been part of many great memories through the years. These include the school's lone boys basketball state championship in 1949 and 8 consecutive sectional titles when Jasper was the host school between 1941 and 1951. 1977 marked the final year that Cabby O'Neill Gym was the predominant home site for Wildcat boys basketball. That year's final home game was February 25th, and Jasper beat Evansville Harrison 44-41. Jasper High School left the West 6th Street campus in December of 1977, and the building became Jasper Middle School. The school building was permanently vacated in 2004 when the middle school moved to its current location off of Portersville Road, and the future of Cabby O'Neill Gym looked quite grim after all activities were moved elsewhere in June of 2006 after structural problems at the school. But 2009 proved to be a watershed year for Cabby O'Neill Gym. Though the Greater Jasper School Board decided to demolish the school building in April of that year, the gym was ultimately spared thanks to the efforts of the Friends of Cabby O'Neill Gym Group. The group was formed in May of 2009 and includes current school board member and 1960 JHS graduate Bernie Vogler. Vogler says as work on restoring the gym got underway in September of 2009, things weren't as bad as one might think.
The structure was in perfect shape, really it was. What it needed was cosmetic. For instance, water had gotten on the floor in the southwest corner. There was a bad spot in there. We had to replace 500 square feet of the floor. The girders needed to be painted. The entire building needed to be tuck pointed. All the windows needed to be glazed and repainted. And all of that kind of work was, that was a major task for a bunch of volunteers.
The restoration work took 16 months to complete. Fittingly, the gym was rededicated on November 27th of 2010 with a boys basketball game between Jasper and Pike Central, a game the Wildcats won 81-45. Caleb Begley was the first player who scored in that game, and he's the son of Rick Begley, who was the last Jasper player to score in the February 25th, 1977 game. Cabby O'Neill Gym temporarily returned to being the home of Jasper boys basketball in the fall of 2011 when the high school main gym's roof collapsed that May due to heavy rain. The team played there until the work at the high school gym was finished in 2013. Today, Cabby O'Neill Gym is used almost daily by high school students and still hosts a few sporting events, including a girls' varsity basketball game that was played there in January. Vogler says the building remains an important part of Jasper, which is enough reason for its recognition.
This building is used for, among other things, city events. It's rented out quite a bit. People rent it for something you can't get anywhere else, and people rent it for birthday parties and other events. And the community usage is really been better than I ever expected.
Of course, the Friends of Cabby O'Neill Group has more ideas for improvements, and these include hanging championship banners from the girders and putting up pictures of the 8 Jasper players who played in the gym during high school and earned All-Star honors. 7 of them, including Jody Giesler, Bob Murder, and Donnie Bates, were Indiana All-Stars. The other, Chesty Leaguers, made the East-West All-Star team, which was a forerunner to the McDonald's All-America teams. Vogler says the group also wants to remove the large window behind the concession stand and restore the area to what it was as late as the mid-1960s. Even with the Friends of Cabby O'Neill being involved, Vogler says the building's long-term preservation will rest with the Jasper School Board.
Well, the building does belong to the school corporation, and as long as I'm around and physically able, I'm going to be here to see to it the place is clean, and we take that burden off the taxpayer. We said we would do that, and we're going to do it as long as we're around. But beyond that, it's a school corporation building. It's very inexpensive to operate because it's well constructed. There's not a whole lot of gadgets in here. It's a bare bones building in today's world.
And as for boys varsity basketball making a return to the building,
the beauty of this is it's high quality enough that in the event that you need it, it can be used for a varsity event. And, we don't have any plans to schedule it that way. The schedule will work it out that way.
Vogler says the application process for historical recognition is still ongoing. He says 2 high school gyms in northern Indiana will likely be considered first, as they have already finished their applications. All right, coming up after the break, a warm-up is on the way and more from Sultan's Run. We're back after this.